What up, fam, friends, haters, skeptics, newcomers? If you're just stumbling on this video and it's the first video you've seen of mine, this is going to come off probably a little weird to you. You might want to go back and watch some of my other videos, but I think this is going to be more along the lines of why it's so important, why this flat earth topic is so important. And I'm probably going to try to stay away from the whole term flat earth as much as possible. Of course, you're going to hear me say those terms because it comes off more natural, but it comes with a stigma. No matter what, no matter if you're a flat earther or not, you understand that it comes with a stigma. And I think the terms like biblical cosmology or true earth, like the true nature of our earth, are better terms for people who are not where we're at, right? Who haven't come to this truth. I see that people actually gravitate towards those terms a lot more. They're more prone to actually listening to what you have to say, if that makes sense. But I want to dive into kind of the topic of this video and what actually drove me to make this video. And it's about the foundation. It's about our foundation. And I was watching this show. It's called Outer Range on Amazon Prime. You can watch it right now on Amazon Prime. It's called Outer Range. There's only one season so far. I think it's like 9 or 10 episodes or something like that. Great TV show in my opinion. And I really felt like God was speaking to me through this TV show. I know that probably sounds crazy, especially to people who aren't really open-minded to these types of things, right? But I really felt like God was speaking to me. And one of the lines in the TV show sparked this video, and it drew me back to a couple scriptures, and we'll kind of get into those things. But in the video, one of the characters, she was talking about a story about an astronomer who, as a young kid, was always looking up to the stars, up to the heavens, and he was intrigued and wanted to learn more and more about the heavens above. And so the story goes that he was walking along one day and he was looking up to the stars, wasn't paying attention to what was going on at his feet, and he tripped over a rock and landed in a well. And kind of the story goes, and to kind of make a longer story short, once his mother found him in the well and got him out of the well, she was kind of poking fun at him. And she said, how can you ever know of the things above you when you don't even know what's right at your feet? She was kind of poking fun that he had tripped over a rock because he wasn't paying attention to what was at his feet. So, of course, that led me to this scripture that I've been looking at. Two scriptures actually that have actually been coming back into my life over and over again lately. And when I saw that and heard that line in the TV show, it just almost hit me like a ton of bricks, and it did bring a little bit of tears to my eyes, because I feel like God has been putting these scriptures into my thoughts, right? He's just been kind of like throwing them at me. So the scriptures, of course, is John 3:12, where God says, how can you know of the heavenly things if you don't understand the earthly things? And the other scripture is Matthew 7:24-26, where it says, Jesus was saying that, if you don't trust in him, if you don't listen to him, it's like the foolish man who built his house on sand. Whereas if you do listen to him and hear his words, you're like the wise man who built his house upon a rock. So what is this all talking about? This is all talking about our foundation, which is what this video is all about, is the foundation. Why flat earth is so important. Why your foundation is so important. Because it really sets everything about your everything that you stand for in your life, like your whole world view, is based off of whatever foundation that you have. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the foundation that you have if you believe that you live on a spinning rock that's spinning completely out of control, 1,000 miles an hour, going around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, traveling over 1,000,000 miles a day through this ever-expanding universe. You guys have heard me say this over and over again, and the reason why I'm repetitive with this is because, number one, I want you to see how ridiculous it sounds. Because if you repeat this to yourself enough, you'll come to the senses that you'll come to your senses that this is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that we ever believed it is just kind of funny. You really have to look back on it and laugh and wonder why you never questioned it. But let's get back to it, right? So if your foundation is based on a spinning ball in an ever-expanding universe, chaotic, your foundation came from all this chaos in an ever-expanding universe, and two rocks collided into each other, or stars collided into each other and created some rocks that eventually created Earth and all the other planets and set all these planets into motions, and somehow a single cell turned into an amoeba, and the amoeba turned into a damn fish, and somehow a fish, or maybe like a crustacean, crawled up on land and lost all its, became an endoskeleton instead of an exoskeleton, and crawled up on land, became like an alligator, and then billions of years later, the alligator, from goo to you by way of the zoo, as Kent Hovind likes to say. If your foundation is built upon that belief, how significant do you feel? Don't you feel so far away from God? God is out there. He's millions and millions and millions of light years away. And we're on this tiny speck of nothing in an ever-expanding universe with millions of other galaxies, and we're so insignificant in that model and that idea that it's got to bring chaos into your life. So sometimes don't you feel like life is just so chaotic and you're spinning out of control and there's nothing you can do about it? It's like a freaking roller coaster ride. Well, it's because of your foundation. It's because in your foundation, you are spinning out of control. You are insignificant. You are a tiny speck of nothing. Why would you feel important with that kind of foundation? Why would you feel like you had any consequences to your actions? Why follow any of God's commandments? Why not just do and come and go as you please? Might as well. God's not going to see it. He's trillions and light years away. And so there's no accountability there. But you see, when you come to the truth and understanding that you're on a level plane of existence, and it was created for you, and God sits right above us, and we are like grasshoppers in his sight. He's right over the top of us, right in the seventh heaven, so to speak. And that's a whole other conversation. Like, how many firmaments are there? How many heavens are there? But the Bible describes God as sitting right over the circle of the earth, and we are like grasshoppers in his sight. But so, in other words, he's right there, and he can see our every move, and he can intervene because he's right there. So with that foundation, shouldn't you be more prone to, follow the commandments and love thy neighbor as thyself? And, treat people like you want to be treated. How about, don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat, don't, all these things. And I know, Everybody sins. I'm just as bad of a sinner as everybody else. And by no means am I saying I'm perfect. I've got my own problems for sure. You don't want my problems. But because I've come to this truth now, it's drawing me closer and closer to God, because I realized that, like, I am wonderfully made, and God must have created me for a purpose here. Like, he put me here and he set me on firm ground, and he put this time clock above my head and said, this is for you. You're my wonderful son. You're my wonderful creation. Now go spread the word. Right? So with that foundation, it makes me want to be a better person, even though that I know, and this is my prayer now, like more than ever, is for God to humble me, to let me kind of put myself in somebody else's shoes, because I have to remember where I came from. And that's the other part of this video, is like your journey, right? Everybody is on their own journey here. Everybody's in a different stage of the game, so to speak. And even in the truther community, there's so much animosity, there's so much division, and there's so much judgment going on. And we have to remind ourselves, where we came from. Put ourselves in that person's shoes instead of staying in our own shoes for a little bit. And that's what I have to remind myself to do. Because I am a very argumentative person, and sometimes I don't come off as the kindest person. And that's been my number one prayer. Like, God, help humble me, make me more of a kind person. Allow me to come to somebody in their place, right? To meet people in their place, in their walk, in their journey, rather than to come to that person with my understanding and try to beat that person upside the head to try to get to my level, right? I should try to meet that person where they're at and be more kind and humble, and remind myself that, like, at one time I used to laugh at this topic, the whole flat earth thing, and I used to poke fun at people for it. Thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. So I have to remind myself that, like, yeah, I was there at one time. So maybe perhaps be a little bit more gentle and kind to the people who are laughing at us, even though that's hard. It's a lot harder to do. You know what I'm saying? It's easier said than done. So I know I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but you guys, I hope this is making some sense. It really is about our foundation. Like, if we're on a chaotic foundation, our life is going to be chaotic. Our life is going to be like the fool who built his house on sand. Whereas if we know that our house was built on rock, and that it's still and firm, and we have a wonderful creator up there looking right down on us, and there are consequences to our actions. He's watching our every move. And that makes somebody, if you're like me, makes you want to act right. I don't know about you, but that makes me want to act right. And since we are all his creation, to try to look at the world through his lens, treat people more kindly. Anywho, that's where I'm at. This is where I'm at in life. Like, I want to be a better person and meet people where they're at, and not just try to beat people upside the head to try to get them on my level. And to be an example, right? Because you're not going to lead people to truth by bashing them upside the head and trying to push them. You'll lead people to truth and understanding by being a better example. And it all starts with your foundation. So there's that. Anywho, this video has gotten to about 15 minutes. Just want to share my thoughts on that. It's not about the shape of the earth. It's about the foundation. Foundation with what you base all your beliefs and understanding on. And once you know that you're on a firm foundation, and your foundation is made of rock and not sand, and you understand that that you were created by a wonderful creator, and he has a purpose for you, and there's consequences to your actions, you become a different person. And that's what it's all about. Anywho, signing out. Till the next video, guys. Take care. God bless. Open your mind. There's truth inside. And let's be kind to our neighbors. Peace.